Hi guys, Martin Curry from Belief Media. Domenico, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you.
This is the third video we're making in our email sequence as part of our marketing funnel associated with the download of our finance marketing manual. The purpose of this video is to briefly introduce search engine optimization, or SEO, its benefits, how it can be used, and how it should be managed to provide a flow of organic leads into your business. Now, we've provided a link to a booklet. It's I don't think it's got a name yet. We haven't actually bound it up into a PDF. So whatever the booklet is called, it's about 250 odd pages. It's rather pointless in nature. I'll say that straight up front. It's rather pointless in nature. At least about 75% of it is reasonably pointless. Broken up into 4 individual chapters. It used to be 5. I'll explain the 4th chapter in a moment that we removed. So chapter 5 became chapter 4, or section 5 became section 4. Section 1 is SEO Essentials. Section 2 is YMYL, or Your Money or Your Life. That's a Google term. Section 3 deals with reputation management. And section 4 deals with platform SEO integration. So all those features in our digital marketing and social media platform that will facilitate all the SEO principles that are introduced within that booklet, and how the website we provide generally facilitates a seamless and positive SEO experience.
I can understand why earlier you mentioned pointless, but as you just mentioned then also, the information in the booklet is incredible too. If you go through that booklet, even though it's technical, it does really help you understand search engines and the way they are. And also, I suppose, the history of it too. From 23 years ago when we first got involved in search engines, they were really basic back then. I mean, the Google, for instance, were just web crawlers. They just crawled through the internet, picking up keywords, indexing your websites. So the repetition of words on a website is really what it looked for, because it was very much the early days compared to today. My gosh, it's so different today. It's like having a person sitting there evaluating, is this content that anyone would really want to see? And the booklet goes into a lot of that information, and I think it'd be great. So if it saves people going and doing a course, like that manual is almost a course on its own. It's incredible information, really worthwhile looking through it.
SEO is a big part of our BLearn it's a big part of our digital marketing social media platform, and I call it that because I'm not sure we really want to go with Yabba, which is the name we gave it a long time ago. That's Yabba. That's a name for our digital marketing and social media platform, but it conflicts with our telco service, which is Yabba. So I apologise for that in advance. So there are a huge number of SEO features. Now, more than you'll find on any other platform. So the book was necessary to introduce that last chapter, which is chapter 4 now. It used to be chapter 5, which was the integration. I guess chapter 1, which is SEO Essentials, introduces the science so you understand what's necessary in order to achieve results. So, yeah.
And look, everyone should be responsible for their own website. No matter who you engage to look after your website, you should be responsible for it. And the book will actually help you look at your own website and evaluate it for yourself.
As I mentioned in the book, any engagement of any digital marketing agency these days for SEO ranking is almost a waste of time, because every broker has the capacity to achieve incredible results, really incredible results, reasonably quickly. It's a marathon, not a race. With SEO, you're never going to get results in a short period of time, although you can. We talk about that again in the manual, how you can rank in the top position within 2 or 3 weeks. But it falls back on black hat or even grey hat techniques that will see you severely punished within the Google system longer term, and may actually see you disavowed by the engine itself. It's funny, you mentioned before about the keywords in search engines. Do you remember the meta tag, keywords equals, and it had a string of keywords, comma separated? And that used to be a standard meta tag. Now that is the only tag now that will actually count against it. Google ignores the meta tag of keywords, but Bing will punish you for having that there.
Yeah, so, and that was important. The meta tag was abused pretty badly.
Yeah.
But its purpose was just to describe and summarize your website. But of course, people took it beyond that once they realized that the algorithms were pretty black and white in those days.
There are a bunch of techniques people used to use. They used to use cloaking down the bottom.
Yeah.
Some people still do it. Some
Yeah,
people
you
still
still
do it. There's a big block of white text down the bottom of a page, and you highlight it with your mouse cursor, and you see all the text that they're trying to hide. So it's visible to search engines or any parser, but not humans.
Especially the suburbs. If you get any of these, like the plumbing websites and all that, they get every suburb listed down there.
In some cases, that works. It's one of the reasons we withdrew our locations plugin. It's because it was predicated upon. We've had that for 10 years, right? It was based on. It's based on our Saturn. Read our digital marketing guide, the first guide we sent you. There's a section there on Saturn. It's about page 350. I think it's part of a Gravity program. Now, our locations plugin worked in that way, but every page was entirely unique and it was a valuable resource. And it also included no follow links. So it was best behavior, but we found 2 occasions where people had altered the plugin themselves, or they had a developer go in and alter the plugin. And I couldn't have a bar of that. I didn't want to participate in. I didn't want to, essentially be an accomplice to somebody that was possibly going to end up in strife. So we withdrew that plugin. We only make it available to clients now, and it's managed in a slightly different way. And that's through that Saturn program, which is an SEO-driven program, and it is returning $200 to $400 million a month. In volume, $200 to $400 million a month. Routinely, it is the highest value program we have on the books. It's more effective, more powerful, more persuasive than Facebook and everything else. I guess that brings us to the second point. And there are 6 or 7 points we want to make here, and we're going to make this video really, really quickly. So 2, what is SEO? We want to talk about shiny objects. 4, I do want to just touch on Kartra, ClickFunnels, lead pages, and other crappy landing page services that people are drawn towards. 5, on video marketing, and that's kind of it. So do you want to run down what is SEO? What is the practice of SEO?
Well, I've touched upon it beforehand. So really, you've got your people like Google who go through and look at your web page and evaluate it to determine what interest would this be to another person. So you come through, you search. Google has so many millions of pages to look at. How is it going to determine which one of those pages are most relevant for you? And the search engine optimization is what Google uses to determine and rank the page's interest based on the individuals doing the search.
If anything, that first 100 or 150 pages of the book in section 1, SEO Essentials, details how complex the nature of SEO can be, and it barely scratches the scratch on the scratch. There is so much to it. That manual, that SEO manual, was originally about 4,500 pages. It was designed as a guide for people internally to understand the complexities, and we cut it down to just the bare essentials and made sure we included snippets of search engine guideline text. So a lot of that text in SEO Essentials in section 1 is copied essentially directly from Google and Bing and Yandex, which is a Russian search engine, and a couple of others, and our commentary is wrapped around that. So search engine optimization cannot be manipulated. You cannot manipulate SEO these days. Google has to be considered a human being, and you create content for a human being. That's why I said this manual is pointless. Your focus should be on content creation. I'm going to say this over and over. Your focus should be on content creation. If you create content, people will be drawn to your website. They'll share your material, and you will rank. So your focus should be on content generation. Anyone that says content is no longer king is full of shit. Anyone that talks about it. And that's why we brought up the object of, excuse my language once again. It's just, it does frustrate me when people talk about, ignore this, ignore this, ignore this, ignore this, ignore this, and throw all your money into Facebook advertising. When we routinely see people generate, 8 to 12, 15, 20 sometimes organic inquiries through their website every single day. Some of the most successful brokers now in this country ride on the back of things like SEO and our high-performing referral program, our post-settlement referral program, and customer care programs. Facebook advertising, while we have the highest yield and most powerful Facebook program in the industry, we still advocate that no source of lead generation should be ignored, and that includes things like, SEO. So I'll shift back into the SEO gear and talk about shiny objects, because I hear this term all the time in the finance industry, another shiny object, another shiny object. The truth is, everything is just another shiny object or a distraction, unless it's part of a structured and well thought out marketing strategy and plan. Whenever I pause like that, I know it's because you've got an understanding of the subject, and I want you to chime in.
I was trying to remember the name of the bird that's attracted to shiny objects, and I just had a mental block.
There's a bird that's attracted to blue things, isn't it? What's that?
You got the magpies, but but
they're just attracted to me.
Magpies, and bushy hair.
There we go.
But the shiny, it's incredible how, I suppose, even looking back through history, anything that shines, your diamonds, gold, anything that's shiny seems to have an attraction. And I suppose that's why they talk about shiny things in that particular subject there.
The mortgage industry is famous for it. Just gravitating towards, the new thing, and nothing is new. Everything they're drawn towards is an archaic and antiquated model of something. We've said over and over, and I'm going to introduce it again in just a moment when I talk about those lead pages and ClickFunnels and Kartra and all those crappy, landing page services. The service we introduced to the industry in 1997 is still more powerful and effective than that which has been introduced to brokers today. The source of lead generation is different. These days people use Facebook more than anything else. Back in 97, we were using banner ads and different types of, advertising networks and things. It was a very mixed bag. These days, it does lean towards Facebook and Google. They own combined well over 90% of the advertising market online.
And it's incredible how far that's come. I still remember when people were not sure if they should spend any money advertising online and just kept with the traditional methods. And then it just exploded, and people then realised it way later.
Back then, when we introduced Facebook advertising into the finance industry a number of years ago, of course, we were part of the pilot program that introduced the finance-based advertising, which was delayed a little bit after general e-commerce related stuff. But when we did that for Google and for Facebook, we were getting converting leads for 15, 20 cents. Like, the cost of a conversion was so ridiculously low, and that is the basis for some of the most successful brokerages in Australia today. We might have to write up a couple of case studies if we get permission from them to talk about how we built their entire business, their billion-dollar business on the back of it. You can't get those same results today. First of all, because people have become blind to Facebook marketing and the follow-up email campaign, all that sort of stuff. The same way everybody became blind to banner ads back in the day. Banner ads, when we started, had a conversion rate of nearly 30%. So if you put a banner ad on a web page in 1997, people were attracted to it.
And people thought they could retire on that, thinking that would just last forever.
And it didn't last for long.
Very short-lived.
Yeah, it was very short-lived. But while it was there, it fueled businesses in such a way that they could take advantage of the next mechanism upon which to advertise. And it has always been about the list. As we discuss in a whole bunch of our booklets and things, the list is still powerful and persuasive means of driving people through your funnel experience, but it shouldn't be used in isolation. And the reason we convert at levels so much higher than any other digital marketing pretender, I struggle to call them marketers, but digital marketers in the industry, the reason we're so much more effective than them is because we have that sort of underlying ideology, which is part of a broad philosophy, which is no source of lead generation should be ignored, because as soon as you start to ignore a source, you're closing off the entry point to your marketing funnel experience. Your business
restricting
is
it. You're
seriously restricting. You're choking it. So SEO is just one part of that, but it's an important part of that. See, I've seen people pay for Facebook marketing when they're only getting 2 or 3 leads a day, or 5 or 6 leads a day, and converting maybe a couple a week. We have people come to us all the time where they're getting all these crappy leads into their website, and I'm getting off topic here, but they're only converting 1 or 2. And I try to explain to them the reason that the most successful brokers in Australia do not rely on Facebook. In fact, none of them use Facebook as a primary means of lead generation. The reason that is the case is because there are more persuasive and more powerful means of attracting business into your brokerage. So SEO is just part of that, but it is a massive part of that. And if you put effort into SEO, you will get results because none of your competition know what they're doing. Simple as that. Brokers obviously don't have the time. There's a lot of effort that is, it's perceived that a lot of effort is required, a lot of energy and so on. That is not the case. Our digital marketing and social media system makes it an absolute piece of cake. And we've got a number of mechanisms and tools upon which to support your SEO endeavors. But the one thing I just want to make clear is SEO, good user experience optimization will add serious volume to your business. And it is particularly easy in the finance industry because nobody else out there in the market knows what they are doing. When 90% plus, 96% of everyone that's looking for a mortgage, the first place they go is Google or Bing or a referral, or call up someone and say, do you know a mortgage broker? But let's say over 90% of people go to a search engine in the first instance. They're a red hot buy now market. They're self-qualified. They know what they want. They know what they're looking for. It's not, it's somebody looking for you rather than you going onto an advertising platform looking for them via interruption-based marketing.
And we'll be talking about the website in one of the following emails and in that video there, so keep your eyes out for that video because we'll go into more about the website and how it qualifies and who it qualifies.
Yeah, we'll move on from that because we do want to just talk about the SEO. I've made a point here. If you started any digital program without serious consideration to your online presence, your business black holes, your business automation workflows and existing opportunities, you're literally wasting your money. I think that was, I don't know why I wrote that point. It's the only point I wrote down here, and I don't know why I did it. But your website is absolutely vital to continued business success. All right, now, the point here, a note on Kartra, ClickFunnels, and lead pages. This is where I get really angry. I'm going to say straight out, if your paid representation, and if you've watched any of our videos, you know how angry I get when I talk about this. If you've had paid representation that has provided you with Kartra, ClickFunnels, lead pages, any of those other landing page style websites, they are objectively wasting your time and money. It is such a poor performing and debilitating product and service. If someone has led you into those services, again, Kartra, ClickFunnels, and lead pages are just 3 examples of any number of pages out there. But if you've had paid representation, I say it because if you're doing all your marketing yourself and you've never paid a cent to anyone and you've gravitated towards those services, fill your boots, do what you need to do to generate business. But if you've paid someone and they've provided you with those services, I consider that professional fraud. I really do. Unfortunately, that's the way the industry has evolved because people go and do a weekend course and they put on their marketing hat and think that that's how you build a marketing experience. The truth is it is absolutely debilitating, and I cannot stress that enough. We say all the time that. Do you want to say it?
I'm trying to work out where you're heading with this. You've got to have your own website.
Okay,
every
this
page
relates
website
heavily on SEO because every page on your website is a potential organic entry point. Every single page on your website is a potential organic entry point. Traffic can come from anywhere. SEO is just one source. It can come from referrals, word of mouth, social media, paid promotion. It can come from
even the
anywhere.
content they're being shared. Yeah.
It can come from anywhere at any time. So every single page on your website is a potential organic entry point. Therefore, every single page is a type of landing page. Therefore, every single page on your website needs to provide some sort of conversion opportunity. Now, I say that over and over and over and over again. Try and press that upon people, because SEO is pointless if you generate all this traffic to your website and you can't do anything with that traffic. You need to convert them. And, providing your about page and on our website, talking about our logo or our name, that's not going to convert people. But having a conversion opportunity will, having a lead magnet will, giving someone a 650-page book that will change their lives if they decide to read it, will convert them. You need to demonstrate 3 things for a search engine. Do you remember what they are?
Expertise, authoritativeness, and trust.
You can't say authoritativeness, can you?
Authoritativeness. That's not. Authoritativeness.
Oh, that is so funny. That's why I got you. That's why I asked.
I could say eat.
Eat. The principles of eat, which are essentially found out.
That was funny. After what happened earlier.
Yeah, it's their founding or foundational attributes of our Magic Lantern model, which is know, like, trust. It's a very basic model, know, like, trust. It's very common sort of to marketing. We've broadened that, turned it into Magic Lantern model, which is based on a David Ogilvy Magic Lantern projector thingy. Anyway, it's in the book. The reason we call it Magic Lantern is detailed in our first book, our marketing guide. And what was I talking about? The principles, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust.
I thought you were just trying to make me say it again.
And, okay, first of all, you don't demonstrate either of those 3 attributes by using those bullshit, Kartra, ClickFunnels, and lead pages type services. You absolutely don't. Using those services negates your ability to actually leverage the SEO benefit to your website. Our website does enormous amounts of things, which we talk about in another video we're going to send you, actually. We talk about the conditional ideology and the escalating of commitment and all that sort of stuff that relates to the complementary website we provide you.
And that links into content. We mentioned many times, but the content is very important, and it leads to the trust and expertise.
That's right. And by the way, you don't. It's a little bit off topic, but you don't generate expertise, authoritativeness, and trust, or at least you don't demonstrate those key areas to Google by way of article submission programs. And I say that despite the fact we have an article submission program. And by the way, ours is the only fully compliant article submission program in the industry. Right? It's not good enough to, for example, just to supply a canonical URL, which is a reference URL for the originating source of the material. Usually used to promote another website, by the way. And it's what it is a piece of code in the website that says this article is a reprint or a reproduction of this article. It tells Google that the page rank essentially should be applied to the other page. But we apply site tags, quote tags. We optimize the images locally on websites. We upload the images directly. We also apply meta tags, so search engine optimization meta tags, which our platform handles.
Yeah, and the software does all that. Yeah,
the software does all that automatically, by the way. So it's there are some good services out there that write some good content, but gee, the mechanism for deploying the articles is just bad. They make claims about how good it is, but when you sit back as a professional and objectively analyse it, it's just bad, which is a shame, because some of the people out there that are writing these articles have really good articles. They've just got this horrid mechanism upon which to get that material out to people. So again, if you're using Kartra, ClickFunnels, and lead pages, all right, ditch your representation. Obviously, our landing pages and so on are all created with the click of a button. It's the most amazing system the industry has ever seen. 35 points of automation. There's a whole stack of stuff that applies. It's all very turnkey in the way it works. There's no copying and pasting or anything like that. But those services are just terrible. So from an SEO perspective, I'm going to get back onto the SEO course. Excuse me, I'm shouting too much. So from an SEO perspective, your focus should be on content generation. All the other stuff doesn't matter if you produce good content and ignore all the pretenders that tell you it is not important. That's important because a lot of people like to assign value to their really crappy and mediocre Facebook program by telling you that content generation and all this other stuff is not important. It is important. No source of lead generation should ever be ignored. You're not going to grow a big, growing sustainable business if you ignore the plethora of other lead generation mechanisms. Now, that leads me on to video marketing, and I did want to talk about video marketing for one reason. First of all, this is a video, if you hadn't noticed already. Video, I want to talk about specifically because when we talk about content generation, we've got a number of tools on our platform to support content generation, particularly video creation and things like that, so people can post videos to their website very quickly and easily. They can post them to social media platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook groups, YouTube, all these services just by recording something very quickly on Instagram, for example. So record a 60-second video via a NITS format on Instagram and it posts everywhere, right? Including YouTube. And that's a big one because YouTube is websites that have web pages that have a YouTube video embedded on them will rank better than pages that have another hosted video on them. It's a bias that Google applies, and I'm not sure why and how and so on, but that is a fact. Statistically, that's a fact. But just a few statistics, a few takeaways. There's a huge section on video marketing in our finance marketing guide, one smaller section in our SEO manual, but video marketing, 65% of people use YouTube to help solve a problem. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Social media posts with video have 48% more views. Videos attract 300% more traffic to help nurture leads. This is the big one. I could have said this and none of the others. A website is 53 times more likely to be on the front page of Google if it includes a video. Now, there are a number of reasons for that. First of all, Google recognizes your expertise, authoritativeness, and trust it. It links it to your YouTube channel. The YouTube channel demonstrates those principles of EAT. It gets shared more because it's got a video. It gets viewed more, and it gets engaged with more. There's a small part of Google Assistant called RankBrain, and it recognizes hitting back button. So if you go to a website from Google and then quickly hit the back button because you don't like a page, it recognizes that and diminishes the value of your page. It actually degrades the trust and the score. If people stay on your page, it recognizes that and helps lift the rank. There are so many factors that impact upon your position in the search on the search engine results page. So 53 times more likely to have a video on the front page of Google. Our website probably has at least 4 videos, and ideally I'd like every one of our blog posts, all 3,000 of them, to have a video. A video should accompany everything, and they're super easy to create, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Video landing page conversions increased by 80%. Social video generates 1,200% more traffic. Video increases organic search traffic by 157%, and people spend 2.6 times more on the page if it includes video. And video is super easy to create. It's like this. Now, one thing I take away from a lot of brokers is they are they have so much information in their head, and they need a platform and a medium upon which to dump that. And they all say, I don't have video, I don't have time to write on my website, I don't have time to create posts and whatever else. But anyone can sit in front of a camera. They don't have to use microphones as we're doing.
It can be just a mobile phone, holding the mobile phone and speaking into it and mention your thoughts for the day. A newsletter comes through, there's something changed in the industry, just pick up the phone and talk about it.
Yeah, there is so much information that brokers receive every day via email from the banks and whatever else, and that's where I encourage the NITS brief: nature, intention, time, and specials. It's a short 4-second, 4-point format for recording a 40 to 60-second video. Record that on Instagram. It goes everywhere. It creates the engagement. Google recognises the effort, and by the way, we do send via when you create a video on Instagram, we do send that to a dedicated post type on WordPress. So all your Instagram posts are archived on your website as well. You want that traffic to be delivered to your website as well. I was just thinking we do have a mechanism there where you can specify the canonical URL. You can define it as the page of your website or link it back to the page where you've posted it on Instagram. There are a few advanced features that I'm not going to go into, but the platform does support SEO in a way that no other platform and product can. We've done that very specifically for a very specific purpose, and that is SEO is important. Okay? It's as important as anything else.
Breathing.
Yeah.
Look, it's the SEO is important. The more you look into it, and everyone's heard about SEO. At first people didn't even know what SEO was. Now everyone knows that. I was at a lady's house up in the mountains, Blue Mountains, and she just came out with it saying, "Look, I need SEO on my website." She didn't know what she actually wanted, or she just knew it was important. So people do realise it.
One of the things I hate hearing from businesses is, my website doesn't return any traffic. It doesn't return any business. And I try and tell people over and over the reason your website doesn't return any business is because there's no mechanism upon which to actually convert people. If you're getting 10 views a day on your website, let's say 10, all right, which is a very, very, very small number, but there are brokers out there that are getting as little as 10 views on their site. They should be converting 1 to 2, right? I see conversions of less than well and truly less than 1%, sometimes 0%. Some brokerages have never got an inquiry off their website. It's horrible to see, but that is the reality of the website experience that people are presenting to consumers.
Especially if the contact form is hidden behind a contact us. There's no area on the front page allowing people to make contact. They get to go look for it, which all results in low conversions, or actually no conversions.
Remember, our primary objective is not to send people through to a marketing funnel, which is discussed in a video we send you, I think, next. It's not to get people into that marketing funnel experience. What's the primary objective of any website visit?
To allow the person to contact you.
A phone call. Mm-hmm. Once we get that phone call, we put them onto an appropriate experience if we need to. That's an email experience or into a funnel. But we need that contact. We talk about escalation of commitment. We can leapfrog that entirely and get human contact, and the escalation then is more shallow, and it's more of a self-qualifying period rather than this ridiculous journey that people might have to take to reach you when they probably wanted to reach you in the first place.
And if we're going to be talking about mortgage brokers specifically, then look, if someone's looking at your website, chances are they do want to get the phone up and call you and ask questions more than fill in a form. If
somebody has come to your website via a Google search, then you absolutely, positively should have them calling you. In the website, we talk about the call to action on the front page of your website. We like the call to action to be above the fold. That is on the top half of the screen, even replacing the big picture that a lot of people have. I don't mind messages where you specifically say what the business is and how you can help. You scroll down an inch and there's the lead magnet that you can download. You scroll down another inch, there's a big video. Click the play button and learn a little bit about us and that sort of stuff. But every scroll on your website should introduce people to a type of conversion opportunity. I think the example I've gotten in the finance marketing guide is some ridiculous banner I saw once where it's got a picture of a door, and there's a saying in big bold text next to it. It says, open the door for opportunity or something. It's just this ridiculous, generic, fluffy message. I thought that is the biggest load of BS, because I had no idea that was a broker website or any kind of website that related to the industry until I scrolled down a little bit further. And there was some sort of section on what we do or something like that. So a lot of people don't think very hard about the purpose of their website. What's the objective? What are you trying to achieve? And sure, the conversion is super important, but in order to action that conversion, you need to draw people to your website in the first place. And SEO is the mechanism, or one of the many measures upon which to make that happen. Before I go, I'm just going to say one more thing. In case you haven't heard it from me before, and that is every single page on your website is a potential organic entry point. Therefore, every single page on your website is a type of landing page. Therefore, every single page on your website needs to provide some sort of conversion opportunity. I've recorded this in other videos and I've started screaming. We've had to cut it out because it is the most frustrating thing. And again, I need to make that note. And if you read our finance marketing guide, you would have heard it so many times by now. If your paid digital marketing representation has steered you in the direction of Kartra, ClickFunnels, lead pages, or any other service that is not fully integrated with your website, it's time to sit down with them, have tea and bickies, and give them the boot, because they are wasting your time and money, and they're seriously degrading your conversions. You probably need to talk to us a little bit. 1300 235 433. That's 1300-BELIEF, or www.beliefmedia.com.au if you want to have a talk to us. Have you got anything else to say before we hit the old stop button?
We're here at all sorts of hours. If you get the message answering machine, just say what the latest time we can call you back is, and we'll most likely give you a call.
1300-BELIEF, 1300 235 433, www.beliefmedia.com.au. Thank you for listening, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.